Hey everybody, welcome back to Beekeeper Tarot. My name is Alan. Thank you so much for joining me again. I thought, and thank you for the subscribers and the wonderful comments and watching me propagate things and plants and tarot and all the rest of it and driving and all the other stuff which I've been getting up to. What I thought I'd do now is it's a little bit late, so I've got to try and keep my voice down because my housemate is sleeping and I don't want to wake him up. So he's in night land in snoozy land. So what I thought I'd do is I'd start to go through some of these questions that people asked about bees. And rather than, I did try to do the video before, and I kind of rushed through it and I hated the video. It was just too rushed and I thought, yuck, and I didn't really kind of portray things how I wanted to portray them. So I'm just going to take it a bit slower and we might do this over a few sessions. So yeah, so let's start going through the questions. And like I said, if you, pardon me, if you have any more questions about bees or anything that I'm saying that you want clarity on, just pop them in the post section. I've got a section there on questions you can ask about bees. So yeah, let's keep raising the awareness. All right, so let's go. So Molly Fritz Becker's 6821. Hey Molly was asking. Um, Basically, she said that I've learned many lessons in priorities by observing nature. Well, that's true, actually. What surprise gifts have bees given me or given you? I think probably the most couple of things. First of all, it's this channel because it's given me an opportunity to be an advocate for bees. And like I said before, the reason I started this channel was to obviously for tarot, but also to kind of raise awareness for bees. And I thought it would just be a nice avenue to do this, a nice platform to do this, I should say. And I was thinking about starting a tarot channel for maybe a good year before I had the courage to start. And I couldn't think of a name for it. And then I just thought, how about I call the channel Beekeeper Tarot? And I remember emailing Lena about it, and she said that she thought it was a great name. So yeah, so thanks, Lena, for that. So yeah, so it's been a labor of love, this channel, but it gives me a platform to speak to at least the esoterical community and raise awareness about bees because I do think that especially people in this community, I do think that we're very kind. And I think I mean, we're all exhausted, but it's like also too, it's a way that we can put our energy into something else. I mean, it's like an escape as well, in a way to think about bees. And they certainly need our help. They certainly need our help. So apart from the channel, I think the joy of giving honey to the people that I love. And so when you harvest the honey, it's a real kind of sense of achievement. And so like, people like my mother and close friends that I've given honey to. And it's just nice to be able to give back to people. I think that's really important in life. If you feel that you're blessed, pardon me, and if you have an opportunity to give back, that's a good thing. That's two things. The other one is I just fun, so interesting to watch. I can watch them all day. I can kind of like hang out in front of the hive or to the side of the hive and just watch them do their things. I really love watching them foraging the plants, which is another reason why I've been planting basil lately around and giving it to friends so I can kind of spread the awareness. And also, it's nice to give the basil to people because you can eat it, you can make tea out of it. It's got a slightly calming effect, apparently, the tea, slightly bitter. But basil's a great herb and the bees love it. So they're just some of the things that I can think of to say for starters. So Molly Fritz, Becca's 6821, thank you very much for that question. Okay, so my throat is playing. I'm just going to try and hit pause it for a second. I'm just going to clear my throat. 2 seconds. Okay, we'll go again. So, um, how do I say this? Kiss. Ksnifl, Kasinfil, is that right? Was basically saying that that she doesn't have bees, but she wants to know how to support them. She plants lots of flowers and blooms in my little garden, in her little garden. How else can I support them? I do have a question about hives. So when while hiking, I've seen some hives. Can I just walk by, or does it disturb them when they come out? Sorry, these are really basic questions, but I've wondered about it. Well, they're good questions, actually. Very good questions. If you're planting flowers that have lots of blooms, that's good. Your garden will do that. The bees are attracted to, especially to white, lilac, blue. I think from memory they don't see the color red. So if you're planting red flowers, they're not going to see that. But I'm going to do a whole section in this series about creating a bee friendly environment. So that will all kind of be enclosed as a part of that. So there's lots of things that you can do to support them. It's like, you can, but you're already doing it. You can grow bee friendly plants. You can maybe have water for them. So what I do is I've got a bird bath out the front and I put cork in it. So I put wine cork in the bird bath. So bees can't swim, but they can float on the cork. So when they fly down, they can float on the cork and they can have a drink. So they do need to drink water sometimes. And what they do with the water, they will also use that to help fan the hive, like it's air conditioning as well. But there's lots of stuff that we can do to help bees. And like I said, you don't have to become a beekeeper to help bees. You don't have to go through all of that drama. Well, it's not really drama, but it's yeah. But being a beekeeper, there's a question further down about beekeeping, and it was like it's a big question. So I'll get to that later. But yeah, you can walk past hives. That's not a problem. The only thing with that is if you notice at the front of a hive, you'll see that the bees are flying in and out of the front of the hive. It's like they've got their own runway, like they've got their own catwalk. And so it's a good idea to keep that area clear. So you'll see, it's almost like if you could imagine coming home with a whole heap of shopping and someone has put all these obstacles in your front door path or your garden or whatever to get to your front door. It might be a bit kind of shitty, I guess. You're thinking, oh, what's going on, kind of thing. You might be a bit upset. And so it's a good idea to keep that clean. So if you're not to keep that clear, so as long as you're not really obstructing that front area where the bees are flying in and out, and like I said, you can see that that's where the front of the hive is. As long as you're giving them that space to move, that's pretty much it. Bees are going to leave you alone anyway. They just want to do their own thing. Yeah, so that's basically the answer for that. Lynette Hartwell 5903 said, "You are such a breath of fresh air." Thank you for that, Lynette. That's very kind of you to say that. She says, "I've been worried hearing about so many bees dying. That's not a good sign. I pray more people will become aware and try to help them. I do try to think of them whenever I plant new flowers in my garden. Wish you and your bees the best. We need more like you. Much love." Oh, that's really sweet, Lynette. Thank you very much for that. Like kudos. That's very kind of you to say that. And really, it kind of warms my heart that like a little guy from Australia is like able to have an international audience and to reach people, and obviously with the tarot, and also to help foster knowledge about bees. I guess is probably the best way that I could say. Um, like I said, um, planting trees in your garden and shrubs in your garden and plants in your garden that is going to be bee friendly, that's a great thing and that's a great start. And even if that's all you do, that's more than enough. You're just giving them a place to get some food from. So yeah, that's excellent. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for that. There are many bees dying. A friend of mine, sorry, my throat's just playing up tonight. A friend of mine sent me a video from the USA saying that there was a lot of bees dying, and there is, and there's lots of things that like the bees have got lots of diseases. Like I don't know if you guys have heard of the varroa mite, but the varroa mite lives in the brood. So the brood is like the bottom part of the beehive where the babies are, I guess, probably the easiest way to explain it. And as the babies are growing, so the queen lays the eggs and they kind of like the larvae, and the varroa mite gets into that and it eats, just munches all that and it multiplies and then it just overtakes the hive and it can kill hives. And unfortunately, I lost two hives, two beehives a couple of months ago. So that was really heartbreaking for me. But I thought, okay, just keep going and move ahead. So what took my hives out was the hive moth, and I think it had the hive beetle. So there's just lots of things that can interrupt your bee's life. And it really, really broke my heart. It really pissed me off when they were gone. I'm like, oh man, it's like it was horrible. But the bees are doing it tough, and I think even by the fact that we're talking about it and raising awareness, that's a good sign, And like I think I've said before, like even with our urban development and our urban planning, we don't think about bees. But all over the world, they're doing it tough. And I actually have done readings on bees before. Actually, I did a reading on my channel, and they're really coming towards a tower moment. But I do think, because the card I pulled after that was the Eight of Pentacles. And generally, when I'm reading, if I get to a major arcana, I'll kind of stop there. But I kind of didn't want to leave that reading on something so negative. I mean, well, the tower moment is just, it can mean change, it can mean lots of things. But I was just thinking that the bees are just heading for a tower moment. And I didn't want to leave that reading on that negative thing. So I kept going. And then I got the Eight of Pentacles. And it was like, okay, so yes, they're heading for this, they're heading for, a bad time, but we can help them. It's almost like, they can rise from the ashes if we just do some little things to help them. And once again, I'll be talking a little bit later about things that we can do to help our bees and making healthy environments for them and just sustainable conditions where they can sort of thrive. And there's lots of things that we can do to help bees. Yeah. Jennifer, hey Jennifer. Jennifer, just so loyal and kind and wonderful. Love you, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being with me from day one. So yeah, thanks, Jennifer. I really look forward to your comments and you inspire me. So thanks, Jennifer. So Jennifer was saying, Jennifer Parr 1284 was saying, long live the queen bees. I hope the new hive is doing well. Yes, it is. We should honor them for their inaugural part in putting food on tables worldwide. Hello, our lovely bees, and hello, Alan. So yeah, hey Jennifer, that's a very, very nice comment. And yes, we should honor the bees. And yeah, so that's kind of pretty much what we're doing here and part of the channel here. So yeah, Jennifer, kudos to you and thank you so much. Linda Gibson Hybert Linda Gibson Hybert 708. Just saying thank you so much, Alan. Well, thank you so much, Linda. Thank you for watching the channel and coming along for the journey and watching the videos about tower and bees and tower. I've got tower in my head now about the tarot and bees. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Linda, and welcome on board. And I hope you enjoy the remaining content of this channel. So Carol Carpenter 8893 was saying, I love all you Australians. I watched Libby, Ellie Donanda, and Lena. Yeah, I haven't mentioned Ellie Donanda. She's pretty awesome too. I'm not even too sure where she is. I've got a funny feeling that she might be in Western Australia, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, Libby and Lena are just awesome. And as you guys know, I know Lena, and she's just how she is on YouTube is how she is in real life. She's just a lovely, warm person, and yeah, she's a lot of fun. You never know what she's going to say. But no, we love Lena. She's pretty amazing. And Libby is just awesome. She's just a great tarot reader. And there's also Marianne, and there's a few others as well. So yeah, I have a lot of time for the Australian readers. And I think with all this stuff going on in the USA, it kind of like we probably have a different perspective because we're not directly living under the umbrella of it, but we are definitely my throat. We are definitely being affected by it, and yeah, it's something that concerns me, and that's one of the reasons why I got on to try and alleviate some of the pain or do what I can do as well, and also with the bees. Um, so so Carol is saying that she has a niece that was a professor at uni in Arizona and moved to Adelaide, and she loves it. Yeah, Adelaide is a great city. Adelaide is the capital of South Australia, which is sort of like, so from your direction, you've got Queensland, New South Wales, South Australia, and Western Australia, and the Northern Territory on the ACTs over there. So that's kind of a, oh, and Tasmania down the bottom. There's your geographic map of Australia. And Adelaide is a great area. It's a great city. I haven't been there for a couple of years, for probably about 20 years or something. But you can get the tram from the city to Glenelg. There's all the Barossa Valley, the McLaren Valley. So there's lots of wine available nearby. And Adelaide is known as the city of churches because apparently there's lots of churches in Adelaide from memory. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll just answer one more for now, and I'm going to go with Marianne Gabel 836 was saying, "Thank you, Alan, for a great episode. I always enjoy listening to you. You have such a calming voice. As far as bees, I would like to know what is the difference between the honeybee versus the bumblebee." Okay, so very quickly. So the bumblebee is a larger bee, and I think there's about 200. I actually did some notes on this today. Just stay with me because I wasn't sure about this, so I did some notes. Yeah, so with bumblebees, there is 250 species of bumblebees around the world. They live majority of them live in temperate climates in the northern hemisphere. The bumblebees actually don't make honey, but they like to live in flowering habitats like grasslands and gardens. So they kind of just live in those habitats. They don't make honey. Um, with the bees that we've got in Australia, the honeybees, we've got the European honeybee, which is a combination of the Italian, Caucasian, Cumnolian, and the dark German races of bees. So I'll cover that a bit more later. But there's also the Asian bee as well. Um, so they just are slightly different, but there's lots of different types of honeybees. So yeah, the European honeybee is a combination of about 4 or 5 different bee species, or I don't know, species is the word. I'm just going to say types because I don't want to get technical when I'm not a technical person. Not about bees anyway. So the European honeybee, there's a couple of different types of bee that I'm not sure if they've been bred in together or whatever, or that it's happened naturally, but I'll get to that later. Um, but obviously the honeybee, they make bees, they make honey, they make wax and everything else. So that's a little bit about them. Yeah, there's also a really, really great ABBA song called Bumblebee, which I might share with you one day. It's lovely. It's from their album called Voyage, which they did in 2021, and it's just a very lovely song. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll take one more in. So Lillian 844 was asking, does the temperament of the queen determine the overall attitude of the colony, of her colony? Absolutely. So bees have got they release pheromones. So pheromones are like chemical triggers. And so depending what, if you've got like a vicious queen, she will just have a testy queen. The whole hive's going to be testy because she's chemically controlling them or she's releasing the pheromones. So pheromones, these chemical scents, they're very important to bees. And even when you get stung by a bee, I've been stung many times, but that's okay. Yeah, they're allowed to sting me. It's okay because they don't. If I make a mistake and don't do up my bee suit quickly, or if I'm harvesting, harvesting is fairly. I mean, you're kind of raiding the cupboards, you know what I mean? But I'll talk more about harvesting some other time. But even when a bee stings you, it releases pheromones. There's a pheromone in the sting, and what that pheromone says, hey, get that person. That person's trying to hurt us. And that's why you notice if you get stung by a bee, there'll be a lot of bees coming after you. So just run. But I haven't been stung that often, to be honest. And every time I've been stung, it's been my own fault. So yeah, that's okay. But yeah, the the temperament of the bees does, sorry, the temperament of the queen does determine the overall attitude of her colony. So absolutely. I even know people that have actually requeened bees, requeened the hive. So they've actually got a new queen for the hive. If they've had like a really aggressive hive, and it does happen sometimes, they've just gotten rid of the old queen and put in a new queen, and then everything's been fine. It's like the hive's just gone, thank God, thank God that bitch is gone. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so because the queen is female and all the workers are female, the drones, they're the guys. And what they do is their job is totally just to impregnate the queen bee. But they don't impregnate the queen bee from the current hive. But that's a whole sort of story about how the queen does that. No, it's a funny story, but I'll tell you that some other time. It's a bit R-rated. Anyway, let's just say the Queen has a nice afternoon meeting all the men. Let's just say that. Yeah, so we'll say that for now. Yeah, so basically, a happy queen bee means a happy bee colony. All right, so I'll leave that there for now. So I'm not taking up too much of your time. So thanks for that. And I hope you could see me because what I had to do is I was actually putting the questions up on the screen so I couldn't see myself. So hopefully I'm still being focused and not too low and not too high and everything else. So I'll leave that there and I'll come back soon with some more big questions. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching and we'll chat soon. Okay, see ya.